Made in Abyss is a masterclass in world building, weaving together a dark, mysterious, and enthralling narrative around the abyss, a multi-layered chasm that challenges the physical, emotional, and moral limits of its explorers. As Rico, Rig, and Nanachi descend into its depths, they confront ever-increasing dangers that reflect not only the hostile nature of the abyss, but also the psychological and existential toll that exploration brings. Each layer introduces new environmental hazards, strange creatures, and intensifying effects of the curse of the abyss, pushing the characters closer to their breaking points. This video will explore the detailed features of each layer to truly show the masterpiece Made in Abyss truly is. At first glance, the edge of the abyss seems to defy what one might expect of a enigmatic chasm. It's a scene of almost pristine natural beauty, a tranquil, idyllic landscape of rolling green hills and clear babbling brooks. The air is crisp and fresh, filled with the scent of earth and wildflowers, while the sunlight filters down gently from the surface, dappling the landscape with warmth. It feels safe, familiar, even inviting, as though the dangers of the abyss are far from here. The flora and fauna in this layer are abundant yet unthreatening. Tall grass sways in the wind, and a small cluster of wildflowers bloom alongside the clear streams that crisscross the layer. What's striking about this layer is its depictive calm. It's almost as if the abyss lulls delvers into a false sense of security, allowing them to believe that this journey will be of peaceful exploration. The entrance of the abyss feels more like a gateway to adventure than the harboring of unimaginable horrors lying deeper within. But for the experienced, this serenity is a mere veil, a facade that hides the true nature of the abyss. Once the delvers descend past the first layer, the world transforms dramatically into a forest of temptation. The landscape here becomes dense and claustrophobic, an overgrown jungle where towering ancient trees dominate the scenery. Their thick, twisted roots snake across the ground like veins, sometimes so vast that they form natural bridges over the deep fog-shrouded crevasse below. The air is heavy and humid, thick with the smell of damp earth and decay, and it clings to the skin like a living thing, a constant reminder of the growing distance from the surface. Above, the dense canopy of interlocking branches lets in an only thin shaft of light, creating an eerie twilight atmosphere even in the middle of the day. Shadows play tricks on the mind here, and the thick mist that rolls through the underground makes it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. The forest is alive with movement, though often you only catch glimpses, creatures darting between the leaves, or the sudden rustle of leaves as something large brushes past unseen. This layer teems with predatory life, many of the creatures using mimicry and depiction to lure prey. The corpse of weepers, large bird-like predators, blend into the environment with their dull, molted feathers. They are particularly dangerous because they can mimic the cries of human beings in distress, drawing delvers off the safe path and into ambushes. Their beady eyes shine with a predatory intelligence as they circle, waiting for the moment to strike. The in-bio, insect-like creatures, burrow into the soft earth and lie in wait, their barbed legs snatching at anything that ventures too close. Every corner of this layer seems to whisper the same temptation: to venture further, to explore, to discover what lies beyond. The further one moves through the forest of temptation, the more disoriented one becomes, as though the forest itself conspires to keep you lost. It's a labyrinth, both physically and mentally, designed to ensnare the unwavering and pull them deeper into the abyss. The Great Vault is an awe-inspiring vertical expanse, an enormous cliff face that seems to stretch endlessly into the blackness below. Unlike the dense jungle of the second layer, this layer is defined by sheer empty space. The walls of the chasm rise like towering stone giants on either side, cracked and weathered by millennia of wind and water. The rock here is a deep reddish brown, pockmarked with ledges, caves, and jagged outcroppings that provide precarious footholds for delvers descending into the abyss. The light becomes dimmer, filtered through the mist and dust that hangs in the air, creating an otherworldly glow. The atmosphere here is oppressive, heavy with the sensation of being suspended between worlds. Above lies the familiar and below the unknown. The sound of wind whistling through the narrow crevice and across the cliffs creates an eerie, constant howling that echoes up and down the vault, amplifying the loneliness of this journey. Few creatures can navigate this vertical landscape, but those that do are deadly. Chief among them is the Madoka Jack, a massive bird of prey with razor-sharp talons and wings that allow it to soar effortlessly through the chasm. These creatures are hunters, circling far below and waiting for any sign of movement from delvers who risk their descent. Their cries are sharp and haunting, reverberating off the rock walls, a reminder that in this empty space something is always watching. For delvers, the journey through the Great Vault is not just a test of physical endurance, but a mental battle. The isolation is profound, and the constant danger of a slip or fall makes every step feel like a leap of faith. The vertigo induced by looking down into the seamlessly endless void reinforces the sense that the abyss is swallowing you whole, pulling you deeper and deeper into its maw. Towering stalks, each goblet swaying gently in the wind, their massive size distorting the scale of the environment. Everything here feels large. The Orb-Piercer is one of the most feared creatures in this layer, a monstrous porcupine-like creature that stands atop the goblet, waiting to launch its deadly poisonous tipped spikes at anything that ventures too close. Its eyes are cold and calculating, its movements slow and deliberate, giving it almost a malevolent intelligence. These creatures are patient, perfectly adapt to their environment. The deeper one goes into this layer, the more it feels as though the abyss itself is alive, a sentient force that seeks to trap and consume everything that dares into its domain, plunging delvers into hidden sinkholes or quicksand-like pits of sludge. The Sea of Corpses is eerily quiet, devoid of life and noise found in previous layers. Every breath feels strained, and the oppressive silence is punctuated only by the squelching of the wet earth or the occasionally distant groan of shifting bones, creating the illusion that the abyss itself is breathing beneath the fog. The structure of the environment reflects the abyss' unforgiving nature. The deeper into the Sea of Corpses one travels, the less solid the ground becomes, until eventually the pools of stagnant water turns into a true sea, stretching out endlessly with an apparent bottom. A cold mist rises off the water's surface, and the dark, still waters reflect no light, appearing almost bottomless. The sight evokes a feeling of profound isolation, as though the land itself is receding, leaving only an endless abyss beneath the delver's feet. The air in the Sea of Corpses carries the distant weight of finality, the realization setting in that most who pass through here will never return. The fog seems to cling to your skin, blurring the lines between reality and nightmare. In this layer, the abyss seems to whisper the inevitability of death, amplifying the sense that every step forward is a step further from life itself. The capital of the Unreturned is a surreal alien world that shatters the boundaries of logic and sanity. Upon entering, delvers are greeted by an overwhelming sense of displacement. Time, space, and even gravity seems to warp in ways that defy understanding. The environment is a scope of ethereal colors and distorted forms, creating a sense of being trapped within a dream or hallucination. The ground itself is uneven, with floating islands of rocks and vegetations that drift lazily through the air as if unbothered from the normal laws of physics. The atmosphere here is thin and the light is dim, casting everything in an otherworldly glow that fluctuates between twilight and dawn, as though the sun is forever on the cusp of rising or setting. Rocks form out at impossible angles, twisting and spiraling towards the sky like spires of an ancient forgotten city. In the distant, massive, crystalline structures tower over the landscape, their surfaces shimmering from a faint iridescence that shifts from the changing light. In this layer, the remnants of ancient civilizations are scattered across the land, crumbling ruins, broken statues, and fragments of old hints at the lives that were once lived here. But there is no sign of who or what inhabited this place. The structures themselves seem almost organic, as if they grew from the rocks itself, rather than being constructed. Everything in the capital of the unreturned carries an unsettling sense of incompleteness, as though the very nature of the abyss prevents anything from being truly whole. The capital's air is suffused with a strange, disorienting energy that makes it hard to tell what is real and what is an illusion. This layer is also the most dangerous in terms of the curse of the abyss. Ascending from here triggers horrific transformations in the body, turning delvers into grotesque amorous beings who are no longer human, wrapping everything around like an invisible fog, seeping into the minds of those dared to linger too long. The capital of the unreturned is the abyss at its most abstract and metaphysical. It embodies the sense of crossing a threshold from which there is no return, where the physical dangers of the abyss are replaced by existential ones. Here the fabric of reality seems to be becoming undone, and the deeper truths of the abyss begin to reveal themselves, hinting at forces far beyond human comprehension. Made in Abyss paints a world that is vibrant and alluring as it is deadly, each layer meticulously crafted with its own unique ecosystem, atmosphere, and challenges, evoking the feeling of a living, breathing world that exists independently of the characters who explore it. The Abyss is more than a setting, it's a character in its own right. An ancient sentient force that guards its secret jealousies, offering glimpses of beauty and wonder, only to trap and destroy those who delve too deep. From the deceptively peaceful surface of the first layer to the incomprehensible chaos of the sixth, the Abyss is a masterclass in world building, inviting viewers to explore its depths while constantly reminding them of the dangers that lie within. Every step deeper into the abyss feels like stepping further away from the known world and into a world of mystery, horror, and beauty.